The second thing, which is one of my favorites, is called the sticky note solution. So each chapter has one of those.
Yes.
And I love it because so many times we spend way too much energy talking to our kids, nagging our kids, just, getting annoyed with them, when all you need to do is write them a sticky note.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's like...
Less is more.
Yeah, like you're worried they're going to forget their something for school. You put a sticky note right on the back door. You need to remind them about a chore. Leave them a sticky note with their list of chores with a little checkbox that they can check off. There's so many things that you can just use a sticky note and avoid the negative interaction. Hello and welcome to the Sunshine Parenting Podcast, where each week we talk about ideas for raising kids who become thriving adults. I'm your host, Audrey Monkey. I'm a summer camp director, writer, and speaker. And I've had the privilege of working with thousands of children, teenagers, young adult counselors, and parents over the past 3 decades. My husband, Steve, and I are raising 5 kids who currently range in age from 15 to 25. So my interest in raising kind, optimistic, self-reliant kids who become thriving adults is personal as well as professional. This episode of the podcast is a little different from my regular episodes. This time, I'm the person being interviewed. This was recorded at my friend Anne Driscoll's bookstore, Branches Books and Gifts, at my Happy Campers book launch party on May 16th. Enjoy this episode.
Good evening. We are coming to you recorded live from Branches Bookstore in Oakhurst, California. And we are interviewing the amazing Audrey Monkey, owner of Gold Arrow Camp. Yes, people. Yes.
Big turnout tonight. Big turnout.
Audrey and I call her Sunshine, so it's weird to call her Audrey. So I'm going to call her Sunshine from here on out. That's her camp nickname. My camp name is Danger, in case you hear those words coming out. We've got a lot of camp people here tonight. Why doesn't everybody yell out their camp names? That'll be kind of a fun thing. So we have a lot of camp people here. We're here also with Idle Hour Winery is here pouring for us. So that's really a wonderful partnership with a community business. And anyways, we are here to talk about this amazing book, Happy Campers, that Sunshine has been dreaming about and working towards for many years. We used to has it been 15 years ago? It's been quite a long time ago since we had a writing group. I just like to make new little weird creations like blogs and things like that, just to put them out there, but then I never wrote anything. I just wanted to make the websites, basically. It was
really beautiful.
Thank you. They were very lovely, but yeah, the one that became the writer, she was the most diligent. And so we're so excited for you, first of all, and we're so excited that you're here, and you have so much great support. So just wanted to start off by saying, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself for the people out there in my audience. I really just want to encourage everybody. She has an amazing podcast, Sunshine Parenting. Sunshine Parenting website is amazing. I mean, just for people that are looking for really quick tips. I mean, I was looking through this today. You can't see it as well, maybe if I hold this up, but sunshineparenting.com or sunshine-parenting.com, right?
Yep.
There's like a little hub for people to use how to have a family meeting. My husband and I are all about the family meeting. We yell family meeting, everything stops. It's really amazing. That's maybe not how she does it, but that's how we've interpreted it. We have like a household task list, bring camp home, activity charts. There's just a lot of great content on this website in addition to just things that you can do and 9 secrets of, how to have happy, thriving kids and relationships. So
yes.
Tell us about yourself a little bit.
First of all, thank you for being my biggest fan.
You're welcome.
For all of your Facebook Lives and your support.
Right back at you.
And side note, before we talk about the book, do you realize that you were the one who helped me set up my blog on WordPress in 2012.
See all those blogs. Thank you. Good.
So not only did you set up beautiful blogs for yourself, you also helped me.
I did not remember that.
Yes. So that was the thing. So the question was?
Well, let's just start. What made you want to write Happy Campers? What brought you to this point where you're like, okay, I'm ready to throw this information out into the world and help all of us?
So a couple things. One is I've had a lifelong interest in just personal growth. I've just always loved just reading about goal setting and leadership and just personalities. And I've always loved that stuff. And I was thrilled in the early 2000s when the field of positive psychology popped up, which is when psychologists decided to start studying what makes people thrive and what are the good things to do to get like great outcomes, as opposed to just studying what's wrong with everybody.
Right.
And so I would have been a psychology major during college had it not been that I went to the first class and it was abnormal psychology and it was just kind of depressing.
Scary.
And, and I just I don't really want to spend all my time thinking about all these bad things. And as it turns out, you can really take a positive focus and think about instead, what are preventative things you can do? What can you do to make life better? And specifically, once I got involved in camp, which was in 1986, I started working at camp, I really started focusing mostly on kids and what we can do to help kids and adolescents and young adults just come out the other end of that crazy time in one piece, healthy, happy, like physically and mentally strong. And
well, because there's so much out. So from when we were growing up, I mean, it was crazy. It's crazy to be in high school. It's crazy to be an adolescent in general. Now there's all the social media. There's all this noise. There's all this stuff coming at them. There's all this pressure. Like, are you addressing any of that in your book? Like, are you kind of talking about how to help parents cope with some of these things about, like, I mean, that's the big thing about camp, right? You connect to yourself. You connect to nature. You connect to others, instead of being kind of behind a screen, or, if sometimes you have anxiety, you hide behind a screen or things like that.
Totally. So yes, definitely I address that. I think that part of it is, so I had this interest in positive psychology and sort of well-being in general. And then just being involved at camp and getting to meet and work with all these kids has been so much fun. I've gotten to learn about a lot of different things that are going on with kids, things that were going on 20 years ago, things that are going on now. And I ended up finding myself a lot of times just sort of being a parent coach to some of the parents of campers, because they were asking me about things that really didn't have anything to do with camp. But because I'd been at camp and known so many kids, usually when they mention something, I'm like, oh yeah, I know a kid. Or I know a family. So I think that it's often reassuring to parents who just have your own kids. You think that maybe your situation is so unique and that like you have the worst, situation of anything. But as it turns out, there's always lots of other people out there, and there are strategies that can help just alleviate some of the stressors for kids. One of the things that I think is really important is that this book, I think a lot of parenting books are very much about kind of all the terrible things going on, like you mentioned, social media and the rise in anxiety, and it's like this very negative focus. And so you pick up a book and you read it and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing everything wrong.
We're doomed.
My kid's doomed. Right. I'm doomed. And you get kind of like this panicky feeling, and then it's like, we're already overwhelmed and overscheduled and doing too much. So then you read another book and think, oh my gosh, now I need to do something more. So I really wanted to write a book that was actually, the message was an encouraging one that you can actually do less.
Right.
And there's some very simple strategies that you can just try to do some important things for your children. And the way I learn these strategies is we have these 19 to 22-year-old counselors coming to work at camp every summer. And we have 10 days to train them.
Right.
And they need to be better than parents, because people's expectations of their camp counselor or their teacher or their babysitter are much higher than what they would have for themselves. Just naturally.
I heard you say that when we were at Pegasus. I think that you had mentioned that, how, you're a parent, you're kind of do your thing, you're like in survival mode almost. And then, but when you get a babysitter, you get, camp counselor, it's like next level. You need them to be on the top of their game. So what do you focus on the most then when you are talking to your counselors? Like, what's one of the first things that you think to tell them when they're kind of like, I mean, I would be terrified. Even though I've been a parent, I'd be really scared to have this big group of kids, or, what do you tell them? And what's something that would be a good takeaway that would apply to parents?
Well, I think the book is divided into 9 summer camp secrets.
Okay.
And the very first secret is connection comes first. And that is the most important part of our training, is letting our counselors know that forming real relationships, we call them, spelled wrong, R-E-A-L, with each of their kids is the most important part of their job. And just because you're a camp counselor or a teacher or a parent, your kids aren't going to listen to you just by default. They need to feel loved, accepted, that you care about them before they are ready to learn from you or accept feedback, or we call it connection before correction.
Oh, nice.
So you can't discipline a kid or help them have better behavior if you don't first have this really strong relationship with them. And so connection is pretty much the most important thing. in life, really, because not only is it important for parents with kids and camp counselors with campers, but it actually is the best predictor of health, happiness, and success for your whole life. And this is not just for kids. So a lot of recent research has come to the same conclusion that many of the things that we're focusing on so much, especially with our kids, are off track. And so you can give yourself a break and you can not do all the extra test prep and
that's what you're meaning by that.
Yes.
It's just like all this extra
like
stuff
on
that
academics. Like a lot of parents just are so ultra focused on academics, and a lot of kids are not. That's not going to be their thing. They're going to find another profession or another path. Only if, though, they feel accepted for who they are and are allowed the opportunity to just kind of explore their own interests. Last summer, I remember, so a lot of kids at camp will say, I feel like I can be myself here. Mm-hmm. Because they're finally given a little time to just kind of reflect and think about what they like, and they're away from the pressures.
Right.
So I think that connection piece is probably the most important. So that's the first chapter. It's also pretty much, if you're only going to read one secret, that would be the one to read, because everything else comes after that. The rest of the book is about strategies for like positive communication with kids that we teach our counselors. And then I talk about different character traits that are important, like kindness and responsibility and independence, and talk about how we do that at camp, how we promote those skills at camp, and what the counselors do, and then also some strategies that you can use at home to do those same, like to build those same skills and traits.
So what's some, maybe you could just give us like one like little small tidbit. Like what would you suggest? There's so many people that have like, toddlers up through teenagers, right? And I just read this funny little meme, like if you're scared of a 2-year-old, tantrum, watch out for when you take a teenager's phone away. Right. And so like, what are some tips? Like if you feel like you're kind of like, you're trying to be positive, you're trying to be connected, but maybe you're just like missing the boat. You guys are just like, you're missing that. Like how is something simple that won't feel like you're trying to connect with them? Do you kind of have something like that in your book, like a sneaky way to make it happy?
So the number one thing, and I think I talk about this the most because it's so simple and yet most people don't do it, and that is just a daily one-on-one just check-in connection with each of your kids. If you have one kid, if you have more kids. At camp, it's part of the counselor's job, and it's something very casual. It can be very brief, but it's just the two of you talking and saying, hey, how's it going? Anything I can help you with?
Right.
What's going on with your friends?
Just acknowledging the other person.
Yeah, and eyeball without looking over their shoulder, without having any distractions. So it seems, again, very simple, but of course you would expect if your child was at camp or if you were with a babysitter that they'd be checking on your child. Like just saying, like, how are you doing? Like, what's going on?
Right.
But when you think about it as a parent, we do have a lot of interaction with our kids every day.
Well, absolutely. I could be in the car with my daughter for 4 hours and then, we're just, she's tired. Maybe she's taking a nap because we're driving so much, or I'm distracted, or I'm calling people while I'm driving and thinking of stuff. So I can totally see what you mean.
Yeah.
So you're with somebody all the time, maybe, but then have you really actually, like you're saying, looked at them, talked to them, checked in with them? So
that's the first thing, is just a one-on-one check-in, and it can start with literally a 2-minute thing where you just think about, okay, I'm just going to spend 2 minutes today. All it is for those 2 minutes, I'm giving my kid their full attention.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not at a point where they want to like talk to you or whatever.
Right.
But you can just even say, oh, what are you doing right now? And, oh, you're, whatever it is they're doing, just take an interest in them. Mm-hmm. And if you keep doing that over and over, and they start seeing that, wow, this person's really sticking around. Yeah. They're going to keep checking on me regardless.
Absolutely.
Eventually, and I know this, and that eventually there will come a time where they're going to say, wow, okay, oh, mom or dad, they're here again. Oh, you know what? I actually do have something today.
Yes.
And they will count on that time. Sometimes it can just be at bedtime. I mean, that's an easy time. If you're tucking your kid in, you can just spend a couple of minutes. I just think that one-on-one check is really important, and it continues and is really important through the teenage years. Yeah. And something that we were talking before the podcast today about, just there's an issue that a lot of times parents think just because a kid looks like a grown-up, maybe starts being kind of surly and, wants to be in their room more. So a lot of times parents will kind of, if it was like a normal relationship, you'd be like, gosh, this person isn't treating me very well. I'm going to take it personally, and I'm going to kind of stand back from them. And so what happens is sometimes parents draw away from the kids during a time where even though the kid's not acting very pleasant, they need you to still be with them, even if it's just your 2-minute check saying, hey, how's it going today?
Well, it's so hard because when you have a little kid, I mean, you have to check on them. You're constantly checking on them. You're running around making sure they're not getting into something that's really going to hurt them. But then it does kind of get a little easier to let off on that when they get older, because they do get a little bit, like, okay, I'm good. Like, stop, being up in my face all the time. But, that's when you really, I think, have to be more...
it's just keep it in mind
with them,
again. You think about like any other relationship, like your spouse or whatever, same thing. Like, hello, you should have a conversation every once in a while.
Yeah.
But
even if it's like a business meeting.
So that's like one of the things. So like in the way the book's set up is that there's strategies for bringing camp home.
Wait, just for my friends on Facebook Live. This is my friend. Okay. I love her. You think I'm nuts. Okay. This is like awesome. Like I aspire to it.
So for example,
she has a lot of tabs in her beautiful book.
The connection comes first. At the end of each secret, there's a section called Bringing Camp Home. And then I go through the same 5 different like strategies, but with different activities and ideas for each of the different topics. So the Bringing Camp Home, creating closer family connections, the one simple thing is that one-on-one we just talked about.
Right.
So that's just like the most basic, easiest thing. The second thing, which is one of my favorites, is called the sticky note solution. So each chapter has one of those.
Yes.
And I love it because so many times we spend way too much energy talking to our kids, nagging our kids, just, getting annoyed with them, when all you need to do is write them a sticky note.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's like...
less is more.
Like you're worried they're going to forget something for school. You put a sticky note right on the back door. You need to remind them about a chore. Leave them a sticky note with their list of chores with a little checkbox that they can check off. There's so many things that you can just use a sticky note and avoid the negative interaction. And then the next thing is make it fun. And I think that, again, a lot of times as parents, we're just not that fun. Like, you're naturally fun.
I'm not, no. Not at home when things are messy.
Okay, but so here's the thing. Even camp counselors have to learn how to make things fun. And so that's one of the things we train them on. So we talk about making mundane things like brushing your teeth and putting on sunscreen more fun. But then, even camp counselors, when we become parents, we're sort of like, just go brush your teeth, Like,
right.
I'm tired, go brush your teeth.
Yeah.
But you can make the vibe at home so much better by putting the music on while you're doing the dishes, or just little things that you can do, just little habit tweaks that can make just more fun.
Yeah.
And so in each chapter, I have a make it fun idea
Nice.
for whatever that character trait is. And then it gets progressively kind of more intense. The next one is called Around the Campfire, and it's a topic to talk about at family dinner, which we talked about family meetings earlier.
Yes.
That's something that I also talk about, but that's more maybe once a week or once a month or something.
Right.
But Around the Campfire is more like a daily kind of activity that you might do, just like sharing.
That's one of your things that you've always done that I always thought was really nice, the highs and lows. Like you guys sit at dinner and, share like highs of the day and like maybe a low of the day, and then kind of discuss it as a family. And that is a really great way that, really does encourage kids, to like hear about your day and you hear about their day, and maybe something you would never even imagine that was going on.
Yep.
They'll share, or maybe a high that you wouldn't even thought was a big deal. We did the dishes with the music on. I mean, that could be a high, after if it had been an issue for so many months, that could be a high from the day before. So it's kind of nice to.
And you let the kids, when they're older, pick the music.
Yes.
That kind of thing. Well, yes, we still do that. When our family's together, we still do that. We've added, Gretchen, do you want to come pipe in about what we've added? I actually have my oldest daughter here.
Yes, Gretchen, come over.
This is, since it's raising kids to become thriving adults, I actually have one thriving adult right here.
That's right.
Thriving adult. She's 25. But why don't you share about our family dinners and our sharing time?
About highs and lows?
Well, just how long it made our dinners and how.
Oh. There are 5 kids now in our family, so when we share highs and lows, it can get up to 45 minutes to an hour. So, and we get off on these tangents and people start telling these side stories, and we have a lot of great conversations, but when we get to the last person, we're ready to speed things up.
I just love that it gave us something to talk about, because otherwise dinner, everybody eats in like 10 minutes. We were just like done. If you just like had dinner and it was just about eating, we would be done so fast. Right. But we did have some epically long family dinners, especially as the kids got older. And we did hear about all the stories, because things would come out then about, and then you could follow up later like, oh, well, what happened with that? Or, you know, oh, that sounds hard. And a lot of laughs. I mean, sometimes things were really funny that were like, you know, on and
absolutely.
Stuff. So the daily sharing. And then the last thing is diving deeper. And that's if you, like, for example, like say kindness is one of the areas that you're like, you know what, this is like something I really want to like get our family more on track with this, or my kids. So the diving deeper is like ideas for looking more into this, resources and things that you can do if you really want to focus on that a lot. So each chapter has that. And I just tried to make it, again, I do not think people should pick up this book and try to do all the activities. It would be impossible. I've never done them all. It's a pick and choose kind of thing. You could actually, besides the first secret, I think you can pick and choose what you want to focus on.
Well, it's a toolkit.
Yes.
You know,
and I want it to be like a resource.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're just feeling a little stuck, or if you just need a little inspiration, or, you know, even, and again, I've said this a couple times, because it might be even like personal relationships.
Yes.
You know, it could apply for anything. It doesn't even have to only apply for parenting. I mean, these skills, I mean, I'm sure the counselors used with each other, you know, and went home and used with their own families and shared them. So I think it's for everybody.
Well, this week, so one of our really cute, we have counselors that come from all other different countries and stuff. And one of the counselors from England posted a photo of like his envelope and his book this week. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. And he said he's a teacher. He's not even a parent yet. And he said he was going straight to the Make It Cool to Be Kind chapter, because he felt like his students needed to focus more on kindness. And I was like, that's perfect. That's exactly how I want the book to be used. I don't want it. It's not a like, you don't have to sit down and read it cover to cover in one sitting. I think it's something that I want people to maybe, even depending on what's going on with their kids, like, oh, they're getting older. I really want them to get more responsible. Let's look into that. You know, so it doesn't, like you said, a toolbox, some resources.
Well, and it's wonderful, because I have a lot of teachers that come in and they'll come in and they're maybe having a challenge with a group of girls or a group of boys, or different situations happening in their classrooms. And, you know, I always try and steer them to these books about, you know, how kindness, so this is going to be a great tool for them. And, you know, teachers. So
Gretchen,
we
my
have
daughter,
people
can
out
speak
in the
to that.
yeah, it's a great way, because I love how he's going to apply it right to his classroom, because there are so many great things that you could do, because obviously it is almost like camp is this huge like outdoor classroom. So one of the things that I always think about is, like, a lot of times kids will leave camp, come home, and then you'll get a ton of commentary from the parents. Oh my gosh, like they're a changed child, they're a new person. How do you keep that momentum going once like the stressors start coming back a little bit into the family, you know?
That's one of the reasons I wrote the book. Because I do think,
Get the book. The end.
When we have campers with us for 1 or 2 weeks, it's so fun to get to kind of have that,
Watch
make
them.
a transformation, or
because a day is like so much happens in a day at camp.
Right.
So
absolutely.
What about if, just again, like a parent, you can't really necessarily, there's not a camp that their child is going to be able to go to this summer? Are there some fun activities maybe on your website that you have in there and things like that? Okay, good.
Tons, and lots in this book too. And definitely this book is not just for people whose kids have gone to camp. In fact, I'd love for it to get to other people, and especially teachers. My daughter, who you met earlier, she's a high school English teacher, and she's only finishing her 2nd year, but she is really knocking it out of the park. And other teachers are like, how long have you been doing this? How do you know how to do this? And she will say that it's because she learned at camp about connecting with the kids. So she has kids who come into her classroom before school, after school. She knows that they need to feel that she cares about them. You know, she helps them find a book that they're interested in. She takes that interest in them. And so she's getting much better results from her students. And so these other teachers who maybe don't have that same idea think that a student's going to come in and they're the teacher and they can hand their kid the syllabus and they should listen.
Right.
And then the kid gets in trouble because they're not paying attention. But if you take that time to first form the relationship, it makes life so much better for teachers.
So back to the early rule, connection.
Connection. That's what I'm saying. And it's funny because now in schools, you know, they're all focused on social emotional learning. which is what we do at camp. It's all about the social skills, the emotional regulation, learning to deal with conflicts,
Right.
learning to control your emotions, figuring out how to handle when you get frustrated. All those things are really important skills to learn.
Yes.
We all need them. We're all works in progress.
Yes, that's true.
This is actually another big point of the book is I think it's really important for our parents to be very authentic with their kids. At camp, we talk about being you. And I think sometimes kids get the impression that their parents are like perfect and know everything and do everything right. And it's really good to share stories with your kids about things that went wrong for you, because it, first of all, is a big relief for them to know that you didn't
Right.
always know how to like pay your bill or do whatever it is, or, you know, and so I think it's important for us to like kind of pull the veil back on that thing. Also, as parents, it's important that we apologize when we do get upset.
Huge. I agree.
Because every parent loses it sometimes with their kids and yells and whatever. And you need to just come back and say, you know what? I had a really hard day at work and I took it out on you. I got way frustrated when I didn't need to. You need to let your kid know.
I do this a lot. I would like to say personally that is successful because, you know, it does. You have to humble yourself and be like, you know, I really made a bad decision. I didn't handle that correctly. And that is just sometimes how things happen. And I am so sorry, you know?
Yes. And as I told you earlier also, before we were recording, that on interview that I did this morning with Michael Reichert, and I think it's How to Raise a Boy. Great book. He said it's very important for parents to know that we are the relationship managers. Right. And I'd never heard that word before, but that is so true. We are the ones responsible for our relationship with our child. So their behavior, whatever, if they're pushing us away, whatever they're doing, we need to still continue being the one reaching out to them, connecting with them, being positive with them, trying to help them find their strengths. When they're at their low point, they need us to just carry on and, you know, stay with them.
Guide the ship.
Yes.
Be the rock. I know.
So,
this woman that I highly regard, Dr. Moore, she told me, you know, you could be in the middle of this huge ocean and a huge storm happening around you, and you have to be on the rock, and you have to buckle down on the rock, and you have to hold yourself together and then bring everybody with you, basically. So...
Which is hard. I mean, it's hard.
It's hard to be the rock.
Yes. So, and we won't always get it right. And that's okay. You don't have to get it right all the time. But what you do need to do is just keep that relationship and repair it when there's problems, like when you have a disagreement or something like that. So I think that's really important. So
how has the book been received? I've been making sure I've been keeping track. I know personally we have sold almost 2,000 copies to camps, other camps throughout the United States. And I know that's been very well received on Amazon. So what was it? It was medical psychology?
Yeah, it was #1 in medical child psychology, which never heard of that category before, but I'll take it. Whatever that was. I saw that the whole brain child was in that same category, so I was like, okay, I like that category. So actually, I really don't know. This is my first book, and I don't really know how to judge what is happening in the world. What I do know is I've received some really nice comments, pictures, messages from people I know, especially past counselors who are parents now. One especially, a story. Can I share a story?
Yes, please.
Okay. So this was
you're in a bookstore. It's all about the stories.
So this was my favorite thing. So in the second chapter of the book, or the second secret, it's called Catch Them Doing Something Right. And it's all about the positive behavior management that we do at camp, which is all about, we're not doing any punishing. We're helping, like with positive words, helping to promote the good behaviors so that the bad ones disappear. Anyway, one of the strategies in there it's called Just Say Yes.
Yes.
And it's a really cool thing. And so Zippy, shout out to Zippy if you're watching.
Zippy.
AKA Renee. She sent me a message that she read the chapter and used the strategy on the same day, and it worked. And what it is her, like, I'll just give the example of her son. He was watching a YouTube movie and it was time for dinner.
3 or 4.
I don't know which one it was, whatever, but however old he was. But I guess it's a struggle every day to get him to dinner from the movies or whatever, the YouTube. And so instead of her normal, no, you need to stop, come to dinner, she used my yes strategy, which goes like this. He asks if he can, like she says it's time for dinner, and he says, oh, can I watch another YouTube? She says yes as soon as we finish dinner. And so the child's just their psyche is more positive, and they kind of don't know what hit them. Because,
right. It's almost like
because no one said no, and then they do it. And then we had another example here in the store tonight of, yes, his son wanted to play a game instead of a shower. And he said, yes, we'll play the game as soon as you have your shower.
Right.
So it's just psychologically, none of us like hearing no or don't, even adults. Like, do you really want?
Probably less so.
No, but even when you think about customer service kind of things, like we've talked about this before, someone asks for something and you don't have it right away. Yes, I'd love to order that for you.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like you can change the wording of things and it just is so much better received than when someone says no.
Right.
You can't do that. And so kids are tired of hearing that. And so anyway, that's just a simple thing and that was like the best thing that I heard all of last week, that she had read the book, used something in it, and it had worked and just like made her life happier that evening.
Yes, absolutely. So which it could have gone bad.
Yeah.
No could have made it gone bad.
Yeah.
Well, I know from, us, it's already in a second printing, which is huge for a brand new book that's only been out since May 7th to already be in its second printing of a new author.
That's exciting. So
we're super excited about that. And I think that is pretty much it that we want to cover. Did you want to say anything else? Do we have any questions from our lovely audience out there? All right. So I guess, I'm going to wrap this up. We are just so proud of you, Audrey. And I'm just so excited that we've gotten to be a part of this. And I really encourage everybody, come take a look at the book, open it up, take a peek. I think you're really going to love it. And congratulations. Thank you so much. This is her first, bookstore book signing, I think.
Yes.
So thank you for coming to Branches Books. And the book is Happy Campers, 9 Summer Camp Secrets for Raising Kids Who Become Thriving Adults by Audrey Monkey.
And this bookstore will have the only signed copies available.
That's right.
This is my home
First
bookstore.
edition.
Exclusive.
First edition, people.
First edition signed copies only at Branches.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
audience. Thank you, Facebook Live.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for being here. I had so much fun chatting with Anne at the live podcast recording at the book launch party, and I hope you enjoyed listening to it as well. As always, the notes and links and everything we talked about are available on my website at sunshine-parenting.com. Search for episode 90. As most of you know, I am a summer camp director, and summer camp is right around the corner. For the past month, I've been doing a series on Facebook Live on Wednesdays at 1:00 p.m. Pacific Time called Ask Me Anything About Summer Camp. Join me on Wednesdays on Facebook, or after the recording, they're always posted on my website at sunshine-parenting.com. If you have a question about summer camp, I would love for you to either send me an email at audrey@sunshine-parenting.com or send me a message on Facebook. I'm at Sunshine Parenting. Instagram, I'm at sunshine.parenting, or on Twitter at Audrey Monkey. That's Monke. If you enjoy listening to the Sunshine Parenting podcast, I would really appreciate it if you would take a moment to give the podcast a rating and review on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Each chapter of my book, Happy Campers, is a different camp secret. I'm going to end this episode with the quote from a camper that starts Camp Secret number 3, Positive Practices Produce Optimistic Kids. It's from a longtime camper named Henry. At camp, I'm always filled with such high energy and such an overwhelming sense of positivity. It is the environment there and the community that give me all of that energy, that fuel me to just go on and be so creative and so energetic and so full of life every day, day after day. And I get that from the other people I'm interacting with.
This podcast is a proud member of Parents on Demand, a network of high-quality shows for families just like yours. Download our free network app on Apple and Android and listen to your favorite episodes on the go.